cutting tomahawks for retail. So when we took this off the carcass, we cut off, there's the navel piece that's attached here. So taking off that navel, the next section down is where the short ribs come from. And so now we're gonna clean this up. This is a retail one, so we actually bought this in from a package. So now we're just gonna finish cleaning it up from here. So the meat on there has already been taken off, the intercostal meat between all these ribs, and that top layer that would normally be short ribs has been taken off. So from here, just out of the package, we're gonna trim it down and then cut it into tomahawks. So just like regular ribeyes, I'm gonna make sure I get off all of this bone skin from those feather bones that was on here. And then I'm gonna look for patty whack piece, which here's a patty whack, a piece of the patty whack, which is the tendon that keeps the head up. So we wanna make sure we take off any of that. And then on this back side, we're gonna look for traces of patty whack. And then we're gonna remove this inside membrane. So I'm gonna cut down on one side all the way to the bone, and then the rest of this membrane will just peel back. So removing membrane, and then that fat. Then I'll straighten up these. So this is going to be discard. This will be trim for burger. So do some facing. Then I'm going to switch to a longer knife to be able to keep all of these tomahawks straight. So I like to cut these individually before I French the ribs. They're a little bit easier to handle than having that whole rack flopping around. Another trim piece to square that up. So now that this is square, I'm going to use a couple tools. So I've got a boning hook that comes in really handy, and then just my boning knife. So I'll show you two different ways to do these, one with the boning hook and one without. So I'm going to mark my line around the bottom all the way to the bone. I'm going to score down the middle with the back of my knife. I'm going to open this up. I can use the back of my knife to release this from the rib. Come around the side. So all of this has kind of bone skin, membrane, sinew, that's all just discard. So once we get down this far, the rest of that bone is all clean, that whole membrane is gone. And if there's any little pieces, then I can use my knife to clean them up. So there's one example. Next example I'm going to do I'm gonna switch knives because this kind of dulls your knife when you do it this way. Same start. I'm gonna start this around. I don't love to do it this way because it kind of makes a lot of mess on the table, but it is a lot easier and you don't need a whole lot of technique, and it does go a little bit faster. Trying to make sure you get all of that off. Okay, so there's another one. So next, same start again. I'm gonna mark all the way around. So I've got a good solid starting point. I'm going to cut right down the middle of the rib with my boning hook. I'll get under that membrane. This is my preferred method. I feel like it's a little bit faster and you don't have a bunch of little pieces coming off. So there's that one. So a few different ways, or you can even sell them just like that. But I like to clean them all up so that you've got a nice handle. Where tomahawks are a specialty item, you want to make sure that they are fancy enough, because people are going to be buying these to impress their friends, and with a bunch of fat left on the handle, they're not as impressive. Another one. So there's a few ways to do tomahawks.